So taking a look at the overall sketch is laid out a little bit. Try to reverse it to show it to you. You still have this, depending on how you like to start, but it's a good idea just to start with a circular shape for the head and then trying to get that gesture. So this gesture goes down the spine, and you can see it kind of whips out here for the tail. And the skeletal structure, even though it's just a circle, if you can imagine, is just the spine, and it's a little bent with the shoulders going out. So when they're just putting these little circular pieces, lines going back for the arms behind them, and then coming down to this pelvis area, it's kind of a warped line right there, and then a straight line down for both the leg and the foot. If you concentrate back on the head, still trying to find that center line, it'll give you the horizontal line that goes around where you can't see the back of it, and that's where the eyes are going to rest, and you can see that they kind of taper a little bit. You can add eyelashes, that type of thing, but the eye themselves, and still trying to keep a little section for the iris and the pupil. So I'll sketch that in with the ink as well and place that in there. The section for the nose, here's the circular part for the nose, and if you just make that larger and found the center line for that, it gives you the two sections for the kind of like the cheeks that are there, and let the section go up pretty easily here for the nose being the negative space, and the mouth fitting right under there. And then when you do the lower section, keeping it pretty loose, just a U-shape letter, and then just giving it a thickness. So once you see that, you should be able to see the volume that comes up. The chin is kind of tucked in to the fur, has kind of a secondary circle for the lower part of the mouth, and then the backward parts of the cheeks there. A little bit of hair. The ears, you don't see the connection too much, but you do see where they come out, wrapping around that vertical section, so you can kind of get that laid out pretty easily. And then coming down to the body, again, a circular shape for the pelvis, the chest, that's going to give this curve, and then trying to show the hips right here. And when you get to the feet, think of it again, it's just a straight shot, but put a circle at the heel, one out at the toe, and then if you connect those, it gives you a pretty good shape that you can build off of. Find the center line, that can be the separation of the toes for the character. And same on the opposite side. You can get a little gesture with the circle part for the heel, oval for the foot, end of the toe, and just builds that section up. Makes it much easier. In the tail, as long as you get one line out, then the second one's pretty easy. And just connect that piece. I have a lot of lines there, but it goes right to the point. And again, before you start to do the inking, take some of the graphite off just with the kneaded eraser. You can roll it on, you can just swipe it across. It'll take some of the graphite off and leave enough that you can still see it, because otherwise when you put the line down, it'll be too hidden, you know, the graphite. So place that in there. And again, find if you go to top to left, or depending on how you like to do it, if you like to do the eye first, that type of thing. I'll try it that way. So again, trying to do the thin to thick section right there. Just kind of placing the pupil out there. A little bit with the iris. So there's the section. You can even drop a secondary shape in there to show a little of the reflection to it. You can always come back to it. So it's just kind of offsetting the line from the inside. And we'll come back to those pieces, but now just trying to show. So depending on which way you like to go, top to bottom, left to right, gives you that section. A little bit of the fur going in. And if you do just sketch lines, it adds to the texture of the fur. Just kind of building that up. And again, the chin right now doesn't have a lot of definition to it. For the most part, that's the front. Now, if you wanted to use the opposite point of this Sharpie, just to build that up, just kind of showing a little bit of it, trying to stay on the lower sides. You can always flip it back, but this would be a shadowed piece. You can always come back in and soften that up. So here I'm just trying a little bit with the shading, just using cross hatch lines, actually just filling in some of the tone just to build that part up. Building this section up. Just to see the variance, even though the rest of the body is not placed in there. So I'm using a little bit of the sketched for the outside edge lines just to show the texture. You can get a value even with the posterization look. The foot. So there's the circle shape right there. Heel. Setting that part up. So just trying to use a little bit of the texture to create that line. And then taking a look at the tail. Here I'm just doing a little offset, kind of like we did before with the pen on the shadow. Again, if it's too sketchy for you, you can always go back with the heavier line and just cover it all up with another thicker line. Part. So again, without the shading, just like a little bit up in the cheek here, you can connect that and just get farther apart with some of those lines. Hopefully you make the drawing large enough. Come down here a little bit. And just build that section up. Go back into the eye. You got another marker, a little fine point there. So just kind of using the razor edge to it. Come back in here. So it's finding the highlight and also putting a couple lines on the section there. Carried away with it there. So this is using the razor point line. And then as you're done with it, just let it dry enough to before you erase anything. So there you go, with a kind of a 3 sets of the marker lines to help you get the thin and thick with a little bit of the shading.